He wanted the Trade Center and worked hard to get it. Now that it's completed and beautiful, he wants no part of it. Is he afraid it will be a flop?
Well, we also told you about a California priest who has contracted the disease AIDS, and a Minnesota nun who ministers to AIDS victims here in Minnesota.
I certainly commend that priest for having the guts to face up to the effect of what has happened to him. If he had contracted it through sexual activity, we cannot overlook the fact, despite his obvious and commendable bravery, he brought this on himself.
Thank you for featuring the nun who ministers to AIDS victims. As a Christian, I am reminded by her example to lead a Christ-like life. After all, Jesus ministered to lepers, even though it was not a practice supported by religious leaders of his time.
Won't you please call us with your comments about today's show? Our number is 330-2404. That is 330-2404. Today we talked about ethanol, llamas, and trying to live longer.
And tomorrow, this may take a few more years off my life, but Newsday has discovered the governor's greatest secret. And tomorrow we'll tell it all on Newsday.
You are watching WCCO2, a service of WCCO Cable. This is the 6 p.m. Report Replay.
Agents were in Minneapolis today helping police identify a suspect. So far, police say their prime suspect is this man, one William Glaze. He is in a Texas jail on another charge. Trish Van Pilsen is in our Minneapolis newsroom with more on the investigation. Trish?
Dave, the FBI agents are putting together a psychological profile of the killer. It does not identify a specific suspect, but does list the characteristics of a person who would commit such murders. Police experts say there are clues to the identity of a serial killer in the crime scenes, in the kinds of victims the killer chooses, and how the victims are killed. In this case, the prime suspect is William Glaze. He was arrested in Albuquerque a month after the last Minneapolis murder on an unrelated charge. He is now serving a 10-year prison sentence in Texas for rape. Glaze, who has used several aliases, lived in Minneapolis when the women were killed, but police have no physical evidence linking him to the murders. He has not been charged here. Now, while the FBI profile bears some resemblance to Glaze, it does not pinpoint him.
It certainly advanced the investigation, but it did not get it to the point where we're ready to make any statements that we're going to go out and interview a suspect or suspects. We're just not that far yet. It's slow, it's tedious, and it's frustrating.
Police have no immediate plans to confront or question Glaze or anyone else in this case. Glaze denies any involvement in the murders. Dave?
Thank you, Trish. Today, charges of second-degree murder were filed against a 25-year-old St. Paul man. Kevin Moore is accused in last week's shooting death of 18-year-old Lynn Ferguson. Moore appeared this morning in Ramsey District Court, where bail was set at $100,000. His case will also be presented to a grand jury, which could raise the charges to first-degree murder. Ever seen $1 million worth of marijuana? Today in St. James, 30 miles west of Mankato, a news conference was called to show us. 1 County Sheriff's officers discovered it in the field. It was cut down and loaded into 3 large dump trucks. 2 male suspects are in custody. And the electrical problem is blamed for igniting a fire which destroyed a Minnetonka daycare center. The All Saints Lutheran Child Care Center went up in flames early yesterday. Tonight, investigators have narrowed their search to a 15-foot section of wire in the attic. While the church decides whether to rebuild the daycare center, its children are temporarily using the church nursery. Earlier this summer, a fire at an Eagan apartment complex prompted suggestions that barbecues be banned from balconies and decks. But today, that proposal fell flat before the Minneapolis City Council. Rather than ban barbecues, council members say they are more likely to opt for tougher building codes. Tom Hanneman could not have picked a more propitious time to return from vacation. Those are the kinds of games they have to win today.
Right, and that's the type of game that a division champion normally comes through and wins. One strike away from a loss, and the Twins came through with a 2-1 win over the Boston Red Sox in 10 innings. Nothing but good news for the Twins because they pick up a half game on the rest of the pack in the American League Western Division. Most dramatic moment of the day occurred in the bottom of the ninth. Boston one strike away from a win, and Kirby Puckett delivers the game saver. 459-foot solo homer to left. This with 2 out and a 2-2 count. Al Newman followed with a bases-loaded walk in the 10th to bring home the game winner. Keith Atherton, the winner, after 1 inning of relief. A great pitcher's duel at the Metrodome. We'll have more, along with interviews from the players, a bit later in sports. 2-1 the Twins.
1 strike away from defeat. Right. I'm still tingling. Thank you, Tom. Mousie's Bar, as you undoubtedly know, is one of the Twin Cities' least pretentious landmarks, but a landmark nonetheless. It is perhaps best known to Minneapolis police, who were called there nearly 300 times last year alone, mostly in response to some kind of violence. But soon Mousie's will be no more. The bar is closing after tonight and will be torn down next month, that's right, to make room for a housing development. There was a new attraction today to be seen on the state fairgrounds. It became a playground for presidential candidates in search of votes. We'll come back with that story in just a moment.
The lowest prices of the year are here at Village Chevrolet's huge 87 sellout. The 88s are rolling in, so we're rolling over prices on 200 1987 cars and trucks, like this S10 4x4 Blazer, now only $13,309. An 87 Caprice Brougham discounted by $2,112. Or this 87 Nova, now just $10,844. Every 87's on sale now. So if you've been waiting to buy, you just can't afford not to now. At Village Chevrolet's huge 87 sellout, it'll blow you away. Be choosy and save big. It's your choice at Wayzata Mitsubishi. Now, just $147 a month buys either of these vehicles. 1. Choose the 87 Mitsubishi Mighty Mac with carpeting, double-wall cargo box, tinted glass, and more. Just $147 a month. Or 2. Choose the 87 Mitsubishi Prius with 64 standard features. Also, just $147 a month. Either way you choose, you just can't lose. It's your choice at Wayzata Mitsubishi. Don't blow the hottest deal of the summer.
Labor Day weekend sale. Levitt's is really loaded with furniture bargains. But hurry, it all ends Monday night.
You'll love it at Levitt's. Now there's a new lilt that makes silky body easier. A new lilt that makes soft waves easier. A new lilt that makes the difference easier. It's new lilt with built-in conditioners. Now firming and conditioning with no extra steps. For long-lasting, easy care hair. Go ahead. New Lilt with conditioners makes the difference even easier.
Today, the Minnesota State Fair became the stage for pronto pup politics. I think we just coined a phrase there. 2 presidential candidates made a run on Minnesota voters. Republican Bob Dole, Democrat Mike Dukakis, see Minnesota, they both tell us, as an important state in the presidential race. Terry Sater watched the candidates at work this afternoon.
Dave, those candidates were here because Minnesota's precinct caucuses will follow just behind Iowa's next February. And Dole and Dukakis are pushing hard to get their names and faces known to Minnesotans. United States Senator Bob Dole of Kansas met his supporters at the fair early this afternoon. Dole is considered to be one of the Republican frontrunners for the party's 1988 presidential nomination. But Dole was also greeted by about 20 abortion rights demonstrators today at the fair. Dole supports conservative Judge Robert Bork as a Supreme Court nominee, but is seen as a major threat to abortion rights.
So to most Americans, so I would say it'll be a very heated controversy, but in the final analysis, he will be confirmed.
It's extremely scary. I think reproductive rights and human and civil rights are probably in greater jeopardy than they've been in the past 4 decades.
On the lighter side, Massachusetts Governor Mike Dukakis was supposed to try to appeal to voters by playing basketball at the fair. But Dukakis' one-on-one match with Boston Celtics star Kevin McHale wasn't played because the two were late for the show. Kevin McHale is in Minnesota, native from Hibbing. The basketball star is home for the summer trying to recuperate from a broken foot. But McHale is also a Dukakis supporter.
It's a great opportunity to meet lots of people, to be a part of what is so very special about this state, and I'm just delighted to be here and delighted to be surrounded by lots of good Minnesotans and good people who care very deeply about this state and about this country of ours.
Dukakis is very strong with Iron Range voters, but Dave, he was trying to use Kevin McHale's influence as a basketball star to try to lure some more voters. Of course, Kevin McHale is very loved by many Minnesotans because his basketball stardom has brought him much fame and fortune. But McHale says he doesn't really know that much about politics, so he's not sure what good his voice will do for Dukakis' campaign.
They didn't shoot a basket?
They didn't even shoot a basket, so the whole thing was off.
A dunking contest between McHale and Dukakis would have been a delight, wouldn't it?
Not much of a matchup.
And it wouldn't have gathered many votes, I'm
Right.
sure. Thank you, Terry. We'll be paying a bit more to drive this long Labor Day weekend. In fact, quite a bit more. Gasoline is up an average of 16 cents a gallon over last year for regular self-service. It's $1.03 a gallon now. Unleaded's $1.10, or 21 cents higher than last year. The local computer industry is feeling the shockwaves of the biggest shakeup in 15 years. The #2 researcher at Cray Research is leaving that company after it decided to abandon its plans for a new generation of supercomputers. And the change is being noticed, we're told, all the way from Chippewa Falls to Wall Street. Business reporter Alan Coxon is in our newsroom now to bring us up to date. Alan?
Dave, Cray was the 6th most traded stock today. It closed a few hours ago down 6 3/4 points. It was off 8.5 yesterday. All that means the stock has lost nearly $500 million in value the last 2 days, all because of the departure of one man. 43-year-old Steve Chen was working on a new generation of supercomputers radically different from what has come before. He headed a team of researchers independent of another team led by company founder Seymour Cray. That's the corporate style the founder likes, independent groups who even stay apart at the company's Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin facilities. But managers say Chen's quest to replace the company's existing designs became too costly and, for the company, too esoteric. They refused to expand his budget, and now Chen may wind up competing with his former colleagues.
Went out about 120 years ago, so we don't have any way to tell Steve not to design supercomputers, and we wouldn't anyway. We don't want to be in his way. Therefore, by definition, if Steve finds a home, and he will, or if Steve starts a company, and he may very well design a supercomputer that we compete with in the marketplace.
Cray continues to dominate the worldwide market for supercomputers. Its machines do everything from predict the weather to animate science fiction movies. Even without one of its stellar engineers, the company goes on.
I think it will leave a small scar, but I don't think it's a mortal wound. The effort that was being undertaken here was not to come to fruition until 1992. There's a lot of time for Cray to adjust.
If Chen goes to work for another company, Cray Research can restrict what he does with what he learned in Chippewa Falls. And there's an irony in all this. In 1972, a computer designer just a few years older than Chen is now got tired of controlled data. He went off on his own. He said he was just setting up a small research lab. That was Seymour Cray. Dave?
Alan, I'm not up on these things in the manner that I ought to. Is the computer business that tight, competitively speaking?
In terms of innovation, it is. Cray Research is a company in the Fortune 500, has a very good profitability record, but they're competing against much larger companies, Control Data, and in particular many Japanese giant electronic firms that have made quite a start just in the last few years.
So one man's departure is crucial then in the business.
Can be crucial, but analysts say not enough to hurt Cray in the long run, although they're certainly going to get a lot of bad publicity for the next few weeks.
Very good. Very interesting. Thank you, Alan. In a moment, Mike Fairborn with the weather forecast when we continue live from the Minnesota State Fairgrounds in Falcon Heights.
Take it right down, take it right down, take it right down, right down.
Savannah, there's a lot of tough competition in the PWA.
That's correct. That's why I'm here in the PWA. They got a lot of tough competition, as you know. They got Nord the Barbarian. He's somebody that you can't describe at all.
Boy, he's tough.
Oh, yeah. You got Buser Brody, you understand? And you got this man that goes by the name of Larry the Butcher Cameron. That's the man that I want to talk to.
I told that the PWA had some of them beaters and tough and roster all over. So I ain't seen nothing but a Savannah Jack. What's a Savannah Jack?
And you see what is happening. Shotgun Danny Gage. All out Hamilton.
What is Eddie Sharkey doing? What is he doing? Oh, no.
Catch all the action of the PWA on WCCO 2 Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
We are the sunshine of your life.
Now sunshine comes in a brand new form. Introducing Minute Maid Squeeze Fresh.
We are the taste that starts your day, Minute Maid.
So don't squeeze this. Squeeze this. It's 100% pure orange juice concentrate you make fresh by the glass.
We are the sunshine of your life.
New Minute Maid Squeeze Fresh in 5 juicy varieties.
Our magazine. Now, more than ever, you can't afford to miss a minute.
Our magazine moves to its popular time weekday mornings at 9, beginning Monday on Channel 4.
This is nether weather. Hard to find a dominant characteristic, neither sun nor clouds nor fish nor fowl.
But it's windy out there, that's
Indeed, I see that.
Should we tell these people they're going to see the strangest sight they've ever seen before?
Say, are
in their
you
lives?
ever going to see a strange sight in just a
Now, you're going to have to look in the television monitors out there because you're not going to believe it if you're just looking at me. We'll show you here what we mean in just a minute. High temperature today, 77 degrees. Average is 76, so awfully close. Low of 54. No precipitation in the past 24 hours. Sun rose this morning at 6:37. Will set tonight at 7:47 here at the State Fair, believe it or not. Satellite picture across the country. We've been watching some clouds develop out to the west, moving east across the northern part of the state. Also some heavy thunderstorms down in the southeastern part of the country, but look at all that green through there. Lots of sunshine. Let's take a close-up view of what we've been having. Some of these clouds have been producing some showers up in the north central part of the state as they've moved on eastward into Lake Superior. We've remained mostly sunny here to the south, but some clouds are beginning to kind of build up out there to the west of us, and it doesn't mean anything except we're going to have a little bit of partly cloudy skies for the rest of the night. Mostly heavy shower and thunderstorm activity down along the southeast coast, a scattering of showers as we set up in the north central part of the state, and some out through the central plains, but nothing here threatening the Twin Cities. Doesn't look like it will, at least for the next 24 hours. Things have slowed down a little bit. Current weather map, we do have a cold front out to the west of us. As we said yesterday, we would be in the warm sector. The return flow around the backside of this high has produced nice warm conditions over us, at least with a high of 77 degrees today. As the cold front approaches tomorrow, though, we will have a chance of some shower and some thunderstorm activity, but we thought we'd see that tonight. But things have slowed down a little bit. It looks like maybe it'll be tomorrow night before we get it. Cold off to the east. 30s up over much of the eastern part of Lake Superior and parts of northern Lake Michigan. 40s over much of the rest of the area. We stayed barely in the 50s here, but that's pretty cold air off the east, and it was that was feeding in from the southeast today that kind of kept our temperature down from the 80s that we had hoped that we would see us up into today. Tomorrow, the front will be just about on top of us. Greatest chance for some shower and thunderstorm activity will be late tomorrow night now and into Saturday, but it doesn't look like it's going to be much of a threat. Things are fairly dry with it. We'll see temperatures climb up to around 80 degrees here to the south. 70s up to the north. The real heat held on down to the south of us. Well, take a look outside at our current conditions. You can see the clouds that are building up a little bit and the flag flying over the State Fair there. Our conditions are mostly sunny. Our temperature is 74 degrees, humidity 48%. Dew point is 53, so it's very pleasant out there. South winds at 15 miles an hour. Barometers holding steady at 3002. Well, tonight, partly cloudy. 58 for a low. South winds at 10 to 20. It'll be a nice, comfortable night out here. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. Maybe some showers developing by afternoon. 82 degrees for a high with south winds at 10 to 20. Tomorrow night, it'll be mostly cloudy with a chance of some showers. Maybe an isolated thunderstorm. 60 for a low. And the same for Saturday. Mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. 78 as we continue our nice stretch of weather here today.
And you thrilled everyone with your electronic magic. In a moment, Tom Hanneman returns to the sports scene with more on the Twins' victory over Boston today. The highlights are next as we continue live from the Minnesota State Fair.
The best auto racing on television is on ESPN. The drama of bumper-to-bumper NASCAR competition. The speed of Formula One, leading to the World Driving Championship. Exciting IndyCar showdowns and thrills from USAC, IMSA, and super-powered dragster. ESPN's award-winning coverage takes you to 5 continents for the best live auto racing on television. The driving force in motorsports. ESPN. Saturday, September, and ESPN Total Sports Labor Day weekend. It's ESPN's college football season opener on Wednesday. It's the NFL Thursday night. It's Top-Ranked Boxing's main event. It's the beginning of weekly Saturday college football. It's auto racing at its best from around the world Sunday. And it's the world's richest quarter horse race Monday. A preview of the outstanding live events in the months to come in one spectacular Total Sports Labor Day weekend on ESPN.
When was the last time you had a cool, crisp, clear hands, fresh from the land of sky blue waters?
How's the beer refreshing? How's the beer refreshing? How's the beer refreshing?
Ember's $1.99 jumbo breakfast. 2 farm-fresh eggs, 2 buttermilk pancakes, 2 country sausage links, and 2 strips of hardwood cured bacon, only $1.99. Ember's, big taste, small check.
How much more can we take? There are 27 games remaining on the schedule. If they do that every third game, we're not going to be in any shape to watch the playoff.
Interesting note today, the Twins, in beating Boston 2-1 in 10 innings, record their 71st win of the season. Now, that's as many wins as the Twins had all of last year. The Twins, Boston actually today was supposed to start 14-game winner Al Nipper, but he slipped in the shower at his hotel this morning, so he was out of the game. Boston came on with Calvin Schiraldi, who replaced him and did a brilliant job. So did Bert Blyleven. Bert recorded 11 strikeouts while allowing just 6 hits and 4 walks. Schiraldi also fanned 11, his career high, while allowing just 3 hits through 7 innings. Boston broke the scoreless tie in the 9th. Mike Greenwell led off with a single. He stole second, took third on a wild pitch, and then scored on this sacrifice fly. And the Red Sox in the ninth inning had a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the 9th, 2 out, a 2-2 count on Kirby Puckett, and he delivered the game-saving home run. Most dramatic moment of the game. A monster shot, 459 feet to left. His 22nd of the year, and the game was tied at 1. In the 10th, Gene Larkin doubles with 1 out, but then he moved to third after 2 consecutive walks. Al Newman then drove in the game-winning run without touching the ball. A bases-loaded walk. Larkin comes in with the game winner, and the Twins win it 2-1 in 10. Afterwards, Kirby Puckett, Al Newman, and Tom Bernansky reflected on that victory.
Well, like I said, I was just trying to get on base in that situation. I told myself that if he threw me a ball right there, I was going to try to hit it out the park, and got ahead of me. I swung at a fastball over my head again, and I was just looking for something down the last pitch, and he, like I say, he threw that breaking ball. I think it was a hanger. If he could have threw, I wish he could have had that one back, but when I saw it out of his hand, and I saw it hanging, and I just tried to hit it out the park, and I'm glad that I did everything correct.
I tell you, it's a lot of fun, and I'm trying to play relaxed, confident baseball. I'm trying to keep the impression that, hey, we're ahead, and the pressure's on the guys behind us, and if you keep that type of perspective, there really isn't any pressure, just to go out and do your job and do the best you can.
Well, this year, definitely when you're playing well, it's fun, and the season goes by real quick, and that's one thing about right now, that it's hard to believe that we're already into September and we only have 28 games left. And it's just going to be, I think the last month's going to probably be about the slowest one because we've got such a small lead, and it's going to be enjoyable.
20,000 at the Dome today, and Keith Atherton, the winner, now 6-4. That was Boston's Bruce Hurst, who was scheduled to start today. Twins, of course, pick up a little breathing room. They pick up a half game on the rest of the American League West, now leading Oakland by a full 2 games of that group. Kansas City, the only team playing tonight. We'll have more on the Twins game a bit later tonight, and a feature on baseball babysitters on Twins Extra following the 10 p.m. report. Well, the Houston Astros will have to make a run at the pennant for the next 10 days without Billy Hatcher. The outfield was suspended for 10 days by the National League for using that cork bat on Tuesday. Hatcher, of course, said the bat didn't belong to him, but to pitcher Dave Smith. Didn't matter. Hatcher is third player of the season suspended for cheating. Kevin Gross at Philadelphia, of course, Joe Niekro of the Twins were penalized for illegal substances on the pitching mound. Well, the Vikes will wrap up their preseason tonight at Mile High Stadium in Denver. The Vikes, of course, have all sorts of banged-up players, including starting quarterback Tommy Kramer. Wade Wilson is expected will start for the Vikes tonight. Regular season opens September 13th at the Dome against the Detroit Lions. David?
All right, very good. Thank you, Tom. Tonight marks the end of an era for Twin City music lovers of the night. We'll explain in a moment when we resume live from the Minnesota State Fair.
Hello, racing fans. I'm Dark Star. Don't forget to join me on WCCO2, the Canterbury Report, every night at 10:25. And if you miss us, we'll be back at 7:30 the following morning. That's the Canterbury Report with Dark Star on WCCO2.
The best auto racing on television is on ESPN. The drama of bumper-to-bumper NASCAR competition. The speed of Formula One, leading to the World Driving Championship. Exciting IndyCar showdowns and thrills from USAC, IMSA, and super-powered dragsters. ESPN's award-winning coverage takes you to 5 continents for the best live auto racing on television. The driving force in motorsports. ESPN.
Sarge is going to be mad. Yeah, he'll be happy we took advantage of the Dodge dealer's clearance. Oh. Jones! I mean, look at the low prices on these cars and trucks.
I know.
And H87 is backed by the 770 protection plan. These clearance sale prices are a steal.
First AWOL, now stealing? Ah!
Hey, the Sarge will probably give us a medal.
Dodge dealer's clearance sale, huh? You better have gotten a good deal.
Chrysler adds 2 new cars to the successful America series. Dodge Aries America, Plymouth Reliant America. To show the world how America competes, Chrysler cut $13.69 off the sticker price. At $69.95, they're the best value of any compacts from America, Europe, or Japan. They're also the lowest price. And they come with Chrysler's 770 protection plan. Yes, America can compete, and Chrysler's building the cars that prove it.
Share it with the family. Share it for fun. Share the wheel tradition.
The gang's here.
Next.
Share the spirit.
A Twin Cities folk music landmark is scheduling a swan song tonight. The Extempore nightclub is closing down after 23 years. The Extemp, as they like to call it, helped to launch the careers of Bob Dylan and countless other folkies, but the owners say they are approaching $200,000 in debt and they just can't afford to operate any longer. Much of that debt is piled up in just the past year since they moved into a sparkling new, but as it turned out, inordinately expensive building on Cedar Avenue South. That's tonight's 6 p.m. report from the Minnesota State Fair. Thank you and good night.